Ready.
Are we recording?
We are recording.
Are we live?
Episode 23.
Everybody said you better stay in school. Get a real job.
I know this one.
Don't be a fool. Burn that guitar.
Pretty good.
You can never be a star. I can. So 1,000 disbelievers couldn't keep me on the ground.
That's a
I've
good
invented
song.
a momentum that'll never slow me down. I believe it 'cause I feel it and I shout it out loud. I can.
And that's 30 seconds.
Yes.
Todd, we don't know, but we think 30 seconds is what we're allowed.
All
I
right.
think
And we've
so.
never been pulled off anything except German YouTube.
Yeah. Germany, they are pissed at us.
And it
right
was
now.
for... Was it for a Drake? It was like the
Yeah.
old... It was like the old Drake song, wasn't it? Like the 2008 Drake song?
Yeah, it was that Drake song. They had a fit.
From like 08.
They
Really?
shut us down.
Yeah, they got mad at us.
Yeah.
They have no sense of ha-ha.
That's right.
Anyway, that was Headley Anything, the Wildlife Deluxe version, explicit on your iTunes Music. And it's for our guest, MP Todd Doherty. Everybody. What's your area again?
Caribou Prince George.
Caribou Prince George is the BC coastline, so they mostly smuggle drugs and Grandpa's hooch up and down the coast.
And actually,
Don't pretend you have any other kind of economy up there. Hang on, we're not done. I got to do the introductions. This is the Jody Mitic Podcast, episode 23.
23.
We were on a bit of a hiatus,
Yes,
but
sir.
Luke, you got a pretty manly beard there.
Right?
How many deer did you eat with your face?
5.
Like
Five.
just trap and just kill.
Yeah, I just jump out of the tree, grab
Did you
out of
even
the neck
shoot
and
any?
bite. Not me, myself.
No, but you were
I'm
like
the dog,
He's
man.
the dog.
yeah, you were the dog.
Yeah, I'm the dog. So
I was doing stuff, whatever. This is brought to you by Firehouse Coffee. If you've listened before, you know where to find it. If you haven't, it's spelled Firehouse, Haus, like the Germans, and you can find them on Facebook, Firehouse Coffee Roasters on Facebook. Send Glenn a message. Tell him we sent you. He'll send you some coffee. You'll have a great day. We aren't doing Firehouse tonight, though. We're doing Growers Extra Dry Apple Cider.
BC,
Right.
BC produced.
Oh, is this
apple cider.
BC?
Absolutely.
Right.
Good stuff.
Oh,
Ben.
this is in honor of you as well, Todd.
Thank you
Not
so
really.
much.
I drink it all the time anyway, but
You're a cider drinker.
I'm a cider drinker. Should I should I make the announcement?
Yes, you should.
treat yourself.
Well, no. Jody 3.0 is dead.
Okay. There it is.
Say it isn't so.
There it is.
Play the
everyone.
taps. Anyway, no, I shouldn't say that. Jody 3.0 is not dead. I had to drop the show. So Saturday would have been my bodybuilding show,
Oh,
but it's just too much. It's too much on my plate, too much pressure, too much life, too much in life. And I took a look at the pros and cons of everything on my list and said, well,
priorities, man.
the least cons come from dropping the
There
bodybuilding
you
show.
go.
I still achieved a lot. You know, I'm in my high school size pants. I look better in my t-shirts. Now, mind you, I went a little haywire when I decided to drop the show, and I had me at least, okay, so it's been, what's it been, about 10 days probably. Probably right after you left.
Right.
Or right
yeah.
before you left.
Yeah, because we talked about like maybe that was going to be the course of action right before I left.
Right. And so I think that day I had a big old sandwich.
Right.
Like I just like got one of those like French loaves,
Yep.
like the fresh baked.
Don't stop. Just stop, man.
And I got like, and this is my favorite. Butter,
Yep.
my sliced meat of choice for the
You
day.
had me at butter.
Right?
Yes.
Swiss cheese
Oh, man.
or Havarti, depends on my mood. Or some nice sharp cheddar.
Sure.
Cheddar.
Sharp fucking cheddar. And slap that bad boy on the meat.
That bears.
Put a little pepper.
Pepper.
That's it.
That's it.
Don't stop fucking. That's it. It's all
No
I want.
mustard. No mustard.
But I mean, I'm talking like it's stacked. It's like a like what was that guy?
Dagwood.
It's like a Dagwood.
See?
Ooh.
So you just now you're
Minus
talking-
all the bullshit.
Wait. So we got to talk about this for a second. I'm a sandwich guy too. So, if you look at me, I look like I've been working out, like I'm competing as well too, right?
For sure, 100%.
So
100%.
the benefit that we
Like
have,
4% body fat.
well, at least. So I'm cut like a bag of milk, actually, and so I'm in shape. I am in shape. Unfortunately, the shape is round.
Yeah.
But bread is my weakness, and I love
everybody's weakness.
Yeah, I love sandwiches, and so I just brought this up the other day. I asked a guy that we were at an event together. I said, "Do you remember Dagwood sandwiches? Like nobody talks about these Dagwood sandwiches anymore." I haven't seen. I mean, I wish there was a place. There isn't a place in Prince George that I know of that, and I should know this. I would know this, that makes fresh homemade sandwiches of any kind.
Yeah.
But imagine it.
There is or there isn't.
There isn't.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine owns Subway, which is good.
Right.
But those fresh homemade deli-made sandwiches, like if you could go and get a Dagwood, it has everything
You
in
can't
there.
beat that.
Yeah.
Now, as good as those, and if I'm chewing, it's not our sponsor that's coming. It's my buddy's wife. I was in Winnipeg, and my old army buddy's wife made me these Christmas cookies, oatmeal chocolate chip.
They look good.
They're fucking delicious.
They didn't make it to Christmas.
And they didn't make it to you or I, Luke.
No.
I offered you guys before we went on air.
That was before you had your fingers after you were licking them and everything and putting them back in the bag.
Hey, they're cookies. You
You-
fucking eat them
That's
if you
right.
want them.
That's right. Good
But
point.
as good as those French the
Yeah.
baguettes are, how good is it when you get a big old slice of
Yeah.
like a loaf?
Okay, let me tell you.
like a
story.
homemade loaf bread, and someone just cuts
Yeah.
it thick.
Yeah. So here's
That's it. Okay.
I can kind of
Pause. We're gonna go make sandwiches.
One more bread story.
All
So
right.
there's a place in Hawaii that we go to, and it has a buffet, and it's a great buffet, unbelievable.
Yeah,
buffet.
yeah. Just go to Hawaii.
Just one second. So you go there, and the first time
I'm
we're
not
there,
politically elite or anything.
come on now. It's a bread story. So you go there, you spend whatever it is to get this buffet, but then they go up and they've got this garlic bread station. Where you
Okay.
make your own.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And what is it? It is French bread, cut this like great big size, like almost like the size of this book, size of your book, Jody, Unflinching, Canadian Sniper.
Right.
Great book, by the way. But about the size of that, and you can slather it with garlic butter, and you put it on there. I didn't eat anything other than the garlic bread. I didn't touch this. Well, obviously, I never touched cell bar. I didn't have the steak. I didn't have the roast beef. I didn't have the chicken. I
Right.
didn't have the pasta. All I ate was the bread, and that
Oh,
was
you didn't even put stuff on it?
no. Well, I had the garlic butter on it, but that was it.
What else do you need? What else do you need?
That's my point. I'm validating what you said.
But that's not a sandwich,
No,
dog.
no, it wasn't a sandwich, but it was
Oh,
garlic bread. And
you were
it was-
just straight up like.
and it was good.
Just going hard on the bread.
You ever go to the keg and they bring out that
Yeah.
sourdough?
Yep.
And by the time you get your steak, you have like 4 loaves of the sourdough in
Yep.
here, and you're like, I kind of just wrap it up.
Go ahead. wrap
Jody
that up.
Mitic, podcast number 23, brought to you by Bread,
Yeah,
the only food group.
brought to you by my round belly. Yeah, I fell off the wagon hard. I'm still eating pretty good.
You look good.
but
I'm saying that in an honest.
Come on, it's my
right?
show.
Yeah,
You're at
look
my
good.
place. Be nice.
Come on now. It's good to be here, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, man. What else we got? Do we have anything else for the intro?
That's it.
That's it.
Wait a
Good.
second. Did you say you got anything when you were hunting? You
Yeah,
had
he
five.
got.
Five.
Where's my deer meat, by the way?
Whoa, it has to be properly processed
Whoa.
and packaged first.
I watched the show Meat Eater. They cut it up right there,
Right
and
there.
start cooking it.
Yeah, but we bring it to a butcher, and he puts his magic on it, and then we pick
Why
it
is
up
that?
in a few weeks.
Lazy or
Mostly
Okay.
lazy. Yeah, yeah. Man, I
Alright.
wish I had some good butcher skills though. But you need a giant fridge.
speaking of butcher skills,
Yeah.
you got some serious knives sitting in front of us here.
Yeah, this is just for show. We'll put this
Pretty-
in the pictures.
Pretty amazing stuff. Like this one right here that you showed me earlier on.
That's my K-bar.
That is
So
amazing.
I was a speaker at the American embassies. You know, every American embassy is guarded by Marines, right?
Absolutely, yep.
So the Marine detail invited me to be their guest speaker because it's the 241st birthday
Yep.
of the Marines. They're older than the actual America,
Wow.
like United States. The American Marines in the Navy were commissioned during the displeasantries they had.
Wow.
And anyway, that's a real K-bar, and they had my name engraved in it.
That's pretty nice.
This one, my buddy. Which one of my buddies? Oh, Jerry did this. He he works for an organization I can't mention, and he does this in his spare time.
That's a serious piece.
He calls it the Coyote Blade.
That's pretty good.
But I'm not sure. Like it's, I don't know. Anyway, I just like how cool it looks.
Yeah, it looks great.
And those are books that I think everybody should read.
Extreme Ownership.
Yeah, we all know that. That's my man Jocko.
Yep.
Tony Robbins is no joke.
No, not at all.
I don't know if you don't know, but Tony Robbins, I'm balls deep in Tony Robbins right now.
Yeah, you are.
Like I am just like going nuts with Tony Robbins, and
Pretty serious guy.
his money book is for real.
Yeah.
I got the audio book too, but I downloaded some app. I don't know if he actually did the app because the app's kind of shit.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's
Maybe-
not useful at all.
Maybe they were low on funds.
Well, apparently with my audio book, I was supposed to get PDFs and stuff. But
You do it?
Oh wait,
You get
did you
it?
make a joke?
Yeah,
Did it just like go right over my head?
Maybe they're low on funds.
yeah, yeah. I said maybe they're low on funds.
I got it. I got it. No, I got it.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
I was trying not to cut off the host.
No, I just cut him off with horrible jokes.
Wait, it's been a couple weeks. We're a little out of practice.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
And we're drinking.
Yeah.
It's a celebration, bitches.
It really
That's
is
right.
a celebration.
Dave
You know what?
Chappelle's back, by the way.
He is.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
I have not seen his monologue.
I haven't seen it
I went to
either.
the Saturday Night Live. If anybody's listening, we're created by Canadian.
But
A
they
bunch
won't-
of your stars have been Canadian. How about you go ahead and make your YouTube page available in Canada?
They won't do that.
It's not available in Canada.
Never. And you
No.
try to get bits and what have you. You
So-
can't.
you
unless
got to go to
somebody's-
these weirdo
Yeah.
YouTube pages
Yeah.
that like have condensed
Yeah.
video screens and like bullshit. I'm just like, look, man, I just want to see your show. Why
Yeah.
can't I watch American Saturday Night Live YouTube on Canadian YouTube?
You know
So
what? I
weird.
think it's because Lorne Michaels is busy. I think it's the Freedom Award that he was just getting from President Obama this week. I think he was.
What's
one
that
of
got to do?
Has nothing, but he seems to be a little bit preoccupied. So, Lorne, if you're
Oh.
listening,
Which he is. He's a fan of the
Listen,
show.
dog.
Yeah.
Listen, we know you listen.
yeah, get to it. There are some SNL fans north of the border.
That's right.
I mean,
Perhaps
I'm trying to be a fan.
Yeah.
But you're not letting me.
You're not letting you. There you go.
I don't have cable. I don't have cable.
Unmuzzle the SNL YouTube,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, that'd be a big help.
Anyway, I heard his monologue was fucking amazing.
I did hear a piece of it on.
What'd you hear?
I was maybe listening to Rogan, and
Was
he
it Fighter
played-
and the Kid?
Oh yeah.
or it might have been Fighter and the Kid. It was either when Schaub was on Rogan,
Yeah.
or it was on one of the Fighter and the Kids, and they played a piece of it and kind of broke it down.
Yeah. I just heard it on Fighter and the Kid, but you couldn't hear what they were playing.
What's Fighter and a Kid?
It's another podcast.
Joe Rogan's?
No, Joe Rogan's is the Joe Rogan. This is Brian Callen and Brendan Schaub.
Okay.
Brendan Schaub used to be a UFC fighter.
Yep.
And Brian Callen's a stand-up comedian. And their podcast is usually it's one of my favorites. Sometimes I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
But I try not to listen to it before our show because I find myself echoing Brendan Schaub sometimes. And I've heard him echo me.
Right.
By the way, as well. So I know he's listening.
Yeah,
Not really at all, but
No, he is.
maybe one day.
Big fan.
So the one I was going to tell you about my son, the one that he watches all the time, is called Oh Sweet. So I know he's into the Rooster Teeth one as well, but we'll probably get in trouble for mentioning that.
No.
But Oh Sweet is the one that he watches, and I've watched a little bit of it. It's pretty funny stuff on there.
Oh, sweet.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
sweet.
but it's a video podcast.
Both they have the audio and then they do video as well too.
Right on.
We're working our
Check
way
that
up the
out.
video.
You bet.
One day, when we have a website, which we're close to.
Working on that, finalizing the.
What do you think? A month?
The coming weeks,
Maybe
and months.
sooner.
Yeah?
I'll hear from them next week.
Yeah, Luke's been working his magic
Oh yes.
in between killing animals with his face.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a pretty good beard though.
That's how I get down. I feel kind of caveman with this.
Yeah, you look at.
And I'm pretty sure I've seen at least a 19% strength improvement.
Yeah.
Do you know who you look like? So I'm a UFC guy. You look like Johnny Hendricks. Do you know
Okay.
who that is?
Yeah, he's the whiner that complained that he didn't beat GSP.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, come on now. I'm
Big
giving you-
rig!
I'm giving you a compliment. You're taller than him,
Thank you.
but you
Thank
do look like him.
All right.
With the
I'll take
beard.
that.
A little
I'll take
bit.
that.
A little bit. You're not nearly as whiny as him, though.
Okay. I
No.
appreciate that too.
Yeah.
That's also a compliment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, every time he lost, he always had an excuse. He's one of those guys.
Did you watch the last one? with Conor McGregor.
I missed 205. I think I was like, I feel like that was the night of the Marine. No,
It was 2 weeks ago.
maybe it was the night of the Marine Corps thing. Yeah, that's it. You know what? That's what it was. But I heard it was the best card ever. So I will watch it. I got UFC Fight Pass. Eventually,
It was
they
phenomenal.
let the pay-per-views be free.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it was a phenomenal.
I'm coming over because I missed it too.
Yeah.
Conor
I gotta see
McGregor
it.
is a beast. That's all I got to say. He talks a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but he backs it up.
He backs it up.
You know, he lost to Diaz and then comes back and beats him.
2 months later.
Yeah, at 170 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an absolute from the start of the first round.
Are you talking about his last fight
His
here?
last fight, yeah.
Who's that against? It was
Alvarez, wasn't it?
yeah, Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
I heard it was like Alvarez was in water.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Yeah, it was crazy. That card from the start to finish was unbelievable. Yeah, and
Who were the women fighters?
It was two Polish. The Polish.
Jędrzejczyk.
Yeah, and then the other one, it starts with a K. And it went the full distance, and
Didn't Misha Tate fight?
she did,
And she lost.
and then she retired.
And she retired.
Yeah, you could see that her heart wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Actually, I think anybody that watched her last fight prior to this one, you could see that there was something up, and so it wasn't a surprise. I actually said that during the right at the very end when she went into the last round. I said, yeah, she's done. And I think Dana White said the same thing. He just knew that there was something up.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Like if you're gonna do something like that, you gotta want
yeah.
it.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't fake that. You can't fake fighting.
No.
Yeah, you can't. It's not a half-ass.
It's
not like a eh.
Yeah. It's like
I'm just not feeling it tonight.
I'll just go get punched in the
Yeah,
face for a
why not?
living.
Yeah.
Yep.
No way. You got to be all in.
But she's really good at being a commentator, though. Apparently.
And you know what? I think that's what Dana said. He goes, he's still gonna be her boss in some form. So I think
Right.
that was
Okay.
what it-
Right on.
Top up.
Yes, please.
This bottle is almost done.
Thank you.
How about you there, Lukey?
Sure.
Dookie?
Sure. I'm not afraid.
Yeah,
Thank you,
so we
sir.
might get a little loose by the
Excellent.
end of the show here.
Things might get wild.
Might get a little wild.
Wilder.
Yeah. So, where do you want to go with the show right now, Luke? You're back. Producer of the year in
Yeah.
the category of the
Hey,
Jody
did
Mitic podcast.
Did you
you,
get
thank
producer of the year? I knew you were up for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was
in the category of Jody Mitic podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did win actually. Yeah.
One of the best Canadian content ones, I think, wasn't it?
It was unanimous.
Or Innes Ward. Or
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
That is incredible. I mean,
Thank you.
You
Thank
were
you.
up
No,
against.
I mean, and he's a rookie.
and you're a rookie, and you were up against some stiff competition.
Oh, but it's tough out there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
It's no joke.
No,
Yeah. No.
because there was a
Absolutely
baking
not.
show. Nothing that there's anything wrong with baking.
No,
but
sure. I
know
mean,
it's
we
tough.
all talked about how much we like the
Yeah,
bread, right?
That's right,
Yeah.
and cookies apparently from
Yes,
our,
bread,
our host
cookies.
over there.
Some of our favorite things here
Yeah.
on the
Let
show.
you guys talk as I dig out the crumbs
Like
here.
if people could see, you should take a picture of the bag, and he's got his hands
Yeah, he's up to his elbows
up to his elbow.
in the Ziploc bag full of
I'm
cookies.
kind of grossing myself out right now, but I
No,
can't stop myself.
No, it's perfect.
No, yeah,
it's
it's like,
perfect. I love it.
These are oatmeal chocolate chips, so tomorrow morning is going to be
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, you can't beat oatmeal.
You'll be one of
chocolate
those
chip.
just regular guys.
Tomorrow morning I will be.
Yep.
So what's
That's
going
for
on
sure.
with so Jody? You are city councilor, and obviously, I think you guys have. I think municipal politics is one of the hardest thing to do. And as a matter of fact, I have one of our municipal councilors here with us in Ottawa for FCM, and so I always say I think you have one of the hardest jobs because. Direct feedback all the time, and you're there. I mean, you are impacting people's lives every day. And how has it been for you?
I love it. It's a job, though, that I think everyone should do
I agree.
or try to do.
I agree.
We have now. I have counselors on council that have been there 20-something years.
Wow.
That's fine, great. I personally don't believe that we should allow it. Same with your job, though.
I agree.
Some MPs have been there just
25 years.
forever.
Yep.
And I don't agree with it.
I think there's
My caveat to it, though, is that if you want to stick around,
Yep.
so let's say you do, so a term for you guys is between 4.5 years, right? Depending on when they call the election.
Yep.
And so what I'm saying is do 2 in a row,
Yep.
and then you got to step aside for one. And then if you want to come back, no one says you can't run again.
Yep.
But you need something that allows the new blood to come in. And I think it should be the same for maybe 3 in a row. I'm not sure. I don't know what the magic number is, but to me, like you guys, this is your first term.
It is my first term. Yep.
So you guys lost government.
Yep.
With the last election.
Yes, we did.
I believe if you had nothing against Mr. Harper, I voted against him because I was just enough of him.
Right.
Nothing against your government. It was him.
Okay.
And it happened to him. It happened to Chrétien. It happened to McGuinty. Although in Ontario, somehow Kathleen Wynne pulled out the win. Mm-hmm. It happened to Klein.
Right.
It happened to, who's the British dude?
Cameron.
No, before him. The guy who took them into Iraq.
Ooh. Good question.
Blair.
Yeah, Tony
It's
Blair.
just these guys, they stick around 9, 10, 15 years. And because in our system, though, never mind the American system, in our system, so Harper wasn't just prime minister for 9 years. He was leader of the party for 3 or 4 years before that.
Right.
So you're talking 15 years as the guy in charge.
Yeah.
You really start to believe your shit don't stink.
Well, I think we, in Canada, we don't vote people in, we vote people out. And I think that is...
Yeah, people say that, but I don't know. I think a vast majority of Canadians voted Trudeau in.
Yeah, well...
But guys like me definitely voted Harper out.
Right.
And I was happy to support Andrew Leslie because he's a fellow veteran, even though he's a liberal. But the point is that we need like mechanisms to correct when someone's there just too, like even the states.
Well, I think that
governors are 8 years, presidents are 8 years, but there's some senators that have been there 40 years.
Yeah, I think that falls. I think that goes back. I mean, the Liberals right now have electoral reform on the books, and I think that the issues that we have in terms of our local representation and making sure that we have local representation falls also on the parties. Making sure that we have, whether it's a member of parliament, whether it's a provincial MLA or an MPP or even a city councillor, I think the organization as a whole has a duty to Canadians, or the provinces, to our communities, to make sure that if you have dead weight, so to speak, and we'll just use that term, dead weight, that they do whatever they can, and that they, whether it's okaying or not okaying nomination papers or whatever it is, whatever that mechanism is that puts a candidate forth or approves a candidate. And I think because every group signs the candidacy papers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's true.
And I think that the issue, and I have this conversation quite a bit. We're busting our butt, and I think that there's I think there's a lot of MPs on all sides that are truly there for the right reason. And I think
I'm not saying anyone there 20 years isn't there for the right reason.
No, but I think we get a past due. What I'm saying, or whatever the past due date is on us, a stale after date.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always tell people, they're like, well, how long do you want to do this? And I said, as long as I'm effective. And I said, if that means I'm, it's one and done, or it's two and done, or if I'm honored enough or privileged enough to be able to still be effective in going into a third term. Then I would, that's something I would consider. But that is
again, this is my personal feeling.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm 2 years into my first term. Talk to me when I'm 2 years into my fifth term and to call me an asshole, right? Yeah. I don't know. Like, to me, it's just, I feel like if the rules were set up so that you can't just plant your flag,
right?
Because you do build up a certain amount of, you get leverage, you get community support, you get, your volunteer base grows every year.
Hopefully.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're sticking around.
Yeah.
And so anyway, just to me, I just feel like 2 or 3, and it shouldn't be banned from going back.
Right.
It should just be like, step aside, somebody else steps in.
You're going on the bench.
You go do something else.
You're on the bench.
Or, maybe you work for the party. Maybe you go back to your old job. Maybe you run for something else. Maybe you go from city councilor to provincial, or from provincial to federal, or but it just you got to keep the new blood flowing. I feel.
No, it's interesting that you say that, because today somebody stood in the House from the other party and said, in my 25 years of being in this House, and I looked across the way, I'm like, 25 years.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So he's on his 4th prime minister.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he'd be Chrétien, Martin, Harper, Trudeau.
Yeah. Crazy. 25 years.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit of a geek in terms of public speaking. So I watch previous speeches from parliaments and different groups, and provincial as well too, and legislatures as well too. And you look at, you go to the House of Commons and you look at previous parliamentary speeches. And I'm going, okay, well, this is in the 90s. And I'm seeing some of the same people on both sides.
Yeah,
I'm going,
right.
My gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, like some of the ministers for the government now, they were ministers when I was a teenager.
It's crazy.
Anyway, enough bagging.
All right.
The point is, you're right. City council, although not the sexiest, we don't get to deal with immigration and, like the economy and import,
economy,
export.
though.
Well, not really. I kind of, but anyway, 80% of your daily life is affected by things I can do.
Yep.
We just got our first snowfall this weekend.
Yep.
Guess what's already started? The fucking emails about you're not plowing my road fast enough.
How come my sidewalk wasn't cleared? How come our road is? I get it at home, and I don't have anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well, and here's like, part of you goes, oh my God, it was one snowfall. It was barely, what was it, 12 centimeters or whatever, 15 centimeters over a couple days.
Yeah.
And our threshold in Ottawa is 7 centimeters. I believe on the books it's actually 10. Anyway, and it's like, yeah, man, snow falls and sometimes it turns ice.
It happens every year.
But at the same time, the bar is set high.
Yeah.
And I like it. I'm a big believer in, the frontline people deserve the respect. I used to be a frontline guy. So I went down to one of the yards where all of our trucks are, and so the guys who drive our garbage trucks, who drive our plows, who drive our lawnmowers or whatever it is. These guys work their asses off.
Absolutely.
So I went down there Friday morning, 6 a.m., coffee and donuts, and right during shift change.
Yep.
I said, thanks, guys. Snow's coming.
Absolutely.
I'm here to kiss your ass and tell you how much I appreciate you. And when I call you, it's because I really need you.
Yeah.
And
but you're not doing it to kiss their ass. You're doing it to say thank you.
Well, I say it's to say thank you, but
Yep.
I am kissing their ass a little bit because they need to know how much they're appreciated.
Absolutely.
And part of that comes with a little bit of like
kissing ass is like, you're kissing. It's like fake. You actually mean it when you're there.
Well, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm up front. Like,
Yeah.
guys, this coffee is so when I call you,
Yeah.
you come
Yeah.
running because
Oh,
I
yeah.
need you.
Yeah.
When Councillor Mitic calls you, but these guys, so these are the things that I do to preempt
Yep.
the bar. And I told them actually. So I told them as they're drinking their coffee and they're eating their donuts, I said, guys, I understand our citizens can be demanding.
Yep.
And our citizens, they won't let you slip even just a little bit. But be proud of that. You've set the bar so high.
Yeah.
They expect such a level of service that's just what they expect. And that's good.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's good. I used to live in down in Toronto in the GTA. No, they shovel their own sidewalks. And people can say, well, we pay our taxes, we should get our sidewalks shoveled. Not all municipalities pay for that.
Yeah.
And ours are done so fast and so well that if it's not done within like a certain hour, the citizen was on the phone calling and saying, "Hey guys, what's going on?"
Yeah.
And to me, it's like it's a little bit of give and take. But the citizen to me in Ottawa expects a certain level of service,
Right.
and they receive it because we have troops that work hard at the front line, driving the trucks and
Yeah.
driving the tractors. And I don't think it's a bad thing.
No,
because the level of expectation of service from our citizens is what keeps us moving forward. And we live in one of the best countries in the world.
Absolutely.
We were joking around earlier that it's not the the freest because we can't walk around with pistols on our hips and slinging chewing tobacco out of wherever we want. But not that I chew tobacco, but but
if you could, you would.
I don't think so.
No.
I tried chewing tobacco once.
I did.
Sucked.
I did when I was a teenager.
I smoked when I was younger, but
I never smoked, but I chewed.
I tried chewing, and I didn't get it.
I remember trying it when I was young and feeling sick.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Did you swallow it?
I think I swallowed
gosh.
like some of it, and I felt off. Yeah.
Your head spinning.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I still remember the first time I inhaled a cigarette, and it felt like someone had punched me directly in the lung
Yeah.
with like a brass knuckle from the inside,
Yeah.
and I was like, "This is awesome!
Check me out, guys. I'm totally cool. Yeah,
I think I was in front of I was with a chick trying to impress her.
for sure. Oh yeah, of course I smoke.
Of
Give
course
me
I
one
did,
of those.
yep.
Yeah, you want to hang out?
Hey, Jody, so I got to put you on the spot. So
Yes,
would you
sir.
ever run for mayor?
Why do you gotta ask me that on my own show, bro?
Well,
Mayor?
yeah. Would you ever do that?
It's funny to me, but I look at our last bunch of mayors that I like in my memory.
Yep.
I feel like I'm too young, first of all.
Right.
And then also, Jim Watson's not going anywhere.
No.
And
And
I
I-
frankly wouldn't want to run against him.
No, and I'll.
But I would probably run for the job if the situation was right.
Right.
So
So I don't know. I don't know your municipal politics at all. I mean, I know you. I think the world of you, but I don't know where the guy is in his tenure or whatever. But I just think that the attitude that you have, where you look at the front line, we've got a great mayor back in Prince George, where previously we didn't have that. Where somebody that actually valued the guys that are working hard, the men and women that are working
Right.
hard,
Yeah.
because it's them that are the frontline people
Yeah.
that basically build your brand. And your comment about you go down there and you talk to them, and I think that's something that we don't see a lot of in municipal or provincial or even federal politics.
Yeah, another counselor, I was just chit-chatting, and I mentioned that I was going. And he was like, "Whoa, I've never done that." And he's been around a term longer than me.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's like the first thing I wanted to do when I got
100%.
elected. Yeah, I don't know. Like to me, it's like the people that have your flag on the shoulder.
Yep.
They're your first line of
100%.
community relations. They're your first line of service delivery. Their attitude reflects yours. No, regardless of whatever you want to call it, like your leadership or your attitude is reflected in the performance and the actions of those who you lead.
Yep.
And, I wrote about in my book, Unflinching, the Making of a Canadian Sniper, a little bit about how once in Snipers,
Yep.
we had a shitty leader.
Yeah.
And we, to a certain extent, wouldn't allow ourselves to fall to his level of performance. But at
Right.
the same time, our level of performance did fall.
Yep.
And I think back to it and I go, wow, yeah, like we really let that guy's attitude affect how we were. But you can't help it,
It totally does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get off this subject before I get in trouble. A
But if that actually goes into what we're going to talk about.
little bit.
Good.
How much time do you got, by the way?
I got whatever you need.
Ooh,
Ooh, that's
All right.
dangerous.
yeah.
I got what you need.
I'm getting text right now.
So, when I heard Todd was going to be on a show, I'm like, I got to find some stuff out about this guy, right?
Did you do a little like jam session?
Yeah.
Little study session?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I got on the Googles,
All right.
and one of the first thing that comes up from a lot of different sites is Bill C-211,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That you've been the bulldog for this,
Absolutely.
right?
He's the
And-
mover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a bit
Sure.
about what's going on there?
Absolutely. So
You do that. I got to go blow my nose because I can feel it bubbling in the
All right.
microphone.
Excellent.
So, Luke, I was elected October 19th of 2015. One of the first things that I did within, literally days of getting into Ottawa, getting some staff set up, was that we set forth and put into motion the making of this bill.
Right.
And Bill C-211 calls on the federal government to develop a national framework with respect to PTSD, mental health, occupational stress injuries, and in our military, our veterans, our first responders, which includes police, fire, ambulance, paramedics, corrections, as well as dispatch as well. And we talked about terms just a little bit ago of terms of office, and I also introduced 3 other bills at the time, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But this bill C-211 I'm so passionate about, and if there's nothing else I get done in the time that I'm elected,
Right.
Other than getting this bill passed, I'll consider my term a success.
Right on.
Because we have championed the brave men and women that are that run towards danger, that really are our silent sentinels, that know when they put their uniforms on every day that they're going to face danger, they're going to face human tragedy, and that indeed it may, in their service of country or communities, they may lose their own life, but yet they still do that.
Yeah.
And what I've found, I've got a lot of friends that are first responders, military, veterans. In the late 80s, I taught crisis intervention, suicide prevention. I worked with at-risk youth and at-risk adults, and used the skills that I learned doing that and throughout my life, my adult life. And I know that, the friends that I have, some of the things that they've experienced over the course of whether it's their service or their public service, it deeply affects them, and not only them but their families as well too. And indeed, suicide is something that has personally touched my life. And so early on when I won the nomination, and good friends of mine that are part of the first responder community in Prince George and in British Columbia approached me and said, look, we don't know what the election's going to bring, but we would sure hope that you fully understood kind of some of the demands that face our industries. And if you are fortunate enough to be elected, we would hope that you would be our champion for this. And so it was something I was keenly aware of already because of my previous work and work that I've done over the last, 3 decades. So Bill C-211 is something I'm deeply proud of. We scrambled to get it before the House, so we introduced it in, I believe, December of last year. And just when the House started to sit.
Right on.
We will go to second reading, which will come up in the next. Hopefully, we're right now we're not quite sure where the replenishment is. That's what it's called. It's either going to be just before we rise for Christmas or just after we come back from Christmas. And my hopes with that is that we pack the House with first responders, military, and veterans to really send a message to the government, and that this. It's great that they've studied it at Public Safety Committee. They've issued a report on that just recently, and I think they've done some good work. But this is an issue that is far more important than a report. We need action. And the only way that we're going to be assured that this, not only this government, but subsequent governments are going to be actually have a focus on this, is to pass a piece of legislation that then makes this a line item in every budget as we move forward.
Right.
And that allocation of funds, that consistent funds, so that we have consistent terminology, consistent diagnosis, consistent treatment from one side of our country to another. And we're not there yet. There are groups that are doing some incredible work.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it.
Hang on. That's the one part that's the biggest
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah.
Because we can't even get consistent medical coverage from one coast to the other.
You're right. And,
You know,
and, what-
and
go ahead, sorry.
and no, it's your bill, but you know, for me, it's you know, people. I say this. I don't know if you've ever heard me. You've heard me a few times
Yeah.
speak publicly. I can walk into we got a Shoppers Drug Mart just down the street here. I can walk in, go right to the pharmacist, and say, "Hey, feeling a little tickle, back of my throat, my ear is itchy. You know, what do you think?" And they can go, "Well, you know, you could take this or that or try this." What's the equivalent for mental health? There isn't.
There isn't.
And I think as a society, we have to open up the access to mental health treatment, period.
Yep.
Because if you're like, you know, like the whole term going postal,
Yep.
it became a joke, but it's based on guys literally walking into work with shotguns or whatever and going crazy and shooting everybody because they were so stressed out about the job. Like, it never happened in Canada, did it?
I don't
It was
know.
only in
I
the
don't-
States.
Nothing that.
So
I can
whatever was
recall.
happening in that work area caused this reaction, you know, and you see it sometimes in the military. Guys will go off and drive a truck through the front door of their unit and bash up the commanding officer's office. But the point is, there's no, you know, like I say, what's rice for your mind?
Yeah.
You know, you sprain your ankle, rest, ice, compression,
Absolutely.
elevation.
Yeah.
What's rice for your mind? If you're just a Joe Schmo in an office, you're normal, you're crazy.
Right.
That's right.
There's no
Middle
in
ground.
between. There's
No.
no, hey, man, you're looking a little peaked. Yeah, I think I'm getting a cold, you know, or hey, you're on crutches. Yeah, softball on the weekend, hurt my ankle or hurt my knee. There's no like, if you showed up with crutches for your brain or for your
Yeah.
mind,
Yeah.
people go, oh, what happened? I broke up with my girlfriend on the weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer, man. That's tough. Okay, well, just take it easy.
That's right. The
There's-
story.
so there's no like walk-in clinic
No.
for mental health.
Nope.
Yeah.
There's no flu shot for mental health.
No,
There's nowhere you can go except, you know, read a Tony Robbins book or listen to a lecture or tune into whatever, because if you do, you're crazy.
Yep.
That's everyone's attitude. And that's what I find. You seek mental help, your employer's like, "What?"
You're labeled.
Right. Yeah.
If you're like, "You know what? I got to go to the doctor. I'm getting a cold or I got pneumonia." They go, "Oh yeah, okay, go take care of it, but don't miss too much work."
Yeah.
Understandable. If you go, "You know what? I'm just not feeling. I'm feeling blue. I'm going to go to the doctor." What?
Yep.
Well, you're going to suddenly you're a liability.
That's right.
Huh?
You know, one of the things that we found is that, and you know this as well too from, you know, our friends, and we're only just starting to understand what occupational stress injury is, or PTSD, or post-traumatic stress injury, what that means. But the biggest issue that we have, and I think you look at whether it's police officers from, you know, or soldiers from, we used to call it shell shocked, right?
Right. Yep.
But the biggest thing that you have is that these guys are, these brave men, these men and women are supposed to be tough.
Right.
They're not supposed to be sick. They're not supposed to be affected by this stuff.
Yeah.
They have to suit up, get going, suck it up, get back out there. We need you, right? Tough it up, right?
Yep.
You know, in hockey, we'd always say, "Are you sick, or are you hurt, or you're injured?" Right?
Right.
You know, we need you to get back on the ice. We need you to get going, right? We need you. And you know, so you have first responders, you have military that experience incredibly traumatic events, and what we might witness as the three of us together might impact you differently than it impacts me. I might be
Sure.
able to say whatever,
Yeah.
Or Jody might say, "Oh my God," or whatever.
Not me.
Not you.
No.
I
Hey,
just
I'm
kinda-
like a shark eyes.
I know you
shark
are.
eyes.
But the thing is that it impacts everybody differently, and we
Right.
need to be able to create the environment so that they feel safe coming forward. B, create the environment where our colleagues and our family and our friends are accepting that they come forward, that they have the tools to recognize that something's off. And C, give them the tools to be able to deal with that
Right.
if there is. But the biggest thing is, and D, I guess, is the next one, is that our academics, our medical community, are using consistent diagnosis, consistent treatment, consistent terminology. We had a very smart man. I don't begrudge him. I respect all of the people, the witnesses that came before us. And I'll give you an example. Said a rule of a third when it comes to PTSD. And this is a guy that's got way more degrees and way more letters behind his name than I do in mine, than I ever hope to have in mine. Again, just understanding it. And he said, the rule of the third. His thoughts on PTSD is a rule of a third. 30% are going to be 100% cured. 30% are going to have some sort of okay life, right? But they're going to still have symptoms. And the other 30% we're going to lose all completely and expect they'll be committing suicide or what have you.
Right.
Non-functional.
Non-functional.
Yeah.
And so what I said is, with all due respect, this is my first committee that I ever got a chance to actually attend with. And Aaron O'Toole, a great guy, asked me, because he knows I'm passionate about this, asked me to come in and actually take part in this discussion. And so I had 7 minutes. I used my whole 7 minutes to say, it is because of recommendations such as yours, sir, that we have police officers, firefighters, military and veterans, corrections officers, first responders that cannot come forward because you are putting out information like this, which is false. How do you erase a traumatic brain injury or a traumatic incident from somebody's brain?
Yeah.
Right.
It is very similar to alcoholism. So if you are once an alcoholic, you're always an alcoholic. But you live a productive life, right? But you can always have a relapse. You cannot you cannot get away from where you are. And I used that. I
Get
said,
closer to your mic.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And I said to the gentleman, I said, so your point where you said you were going to 100% cure somebody is false. So you have workers or you have employers that now are listening to this person's diagnosis or this his theory on PTSD. Then you have a worker that goes away, or a first responder or a police officer that needs to take time away to deal with his OSI. But then you have a chief that says, look, 30%, you should be cured.
Right.
Or they're going 70%.
Yeah,
I'm going to be dealing with 70% loss rate.
absolutely. So it's a big deal.
My issue with that statement is that when I had ankles,
Yep.
I had broken both of them as a kid. And it was an issue my whole life until I had them blown off.
Mm-hmm.
But I dealt with it, and I still managed to make it to
Right.
where I did. Because you mitigate it, you tape them up,
Right.
you do exercises.
You do whatever you
It's
can.
like you said, if you hurt your back,
Yep.
you're always going to know, I did that thing to my back once, but I can still crash
Yeah.
and bash.
Yep.
So I think it's mental health is the same, right? I know I'll always have whatever from getting blown up.
But you get coping mechanisms.
You get coping mechanisms. You know what to deal with it. You know, it's the same with the back injury that I do have.
Yep.
Oh, I can feel it.
Yep.
I better take it easy.
Right.
Or I better stretch.
Yep.
It's the same for your mental health. And to say that you're going to completely cure someone, like I don't know anybody that's had any kind of significant physical injury and been 100% cured.
You can't.
It's just, so to say that about mental health seems a little, like you said, presumptuous. But also to say you're going to lose 30%, well, that's pretty presumptuous.
Yeah, very much so.
Like, what do you mean? So like that's your grade you give yourself?
Absolutely.
You allow 30% to just,
Yeah.
well, that 30% is unavoidable. There's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah, no, it's
I'm going to go ahead and say that you're wrong there, sir.
And you know what? And when I kind of went after this guy, he says, well, you're right. But the fact of the matter is we're just only trying to understand.
Yeah.
this.
Well, in his defense too, right? He's dealing with an industry that, like we just said, up till honestly, like even to now, it might take another 10 years. It's really got to open itself up
100%.
because to go to to get a psychiatrist, which really is like an MD for the mind.
Yep.
How long is the wait list? Unless you got money.
Oh, I have no idea.
Right, unless you're, and the most insurance I think might pay for it once a psychologist says that they can't help you,
Yep.
because the difference is one can write drug prescriptions and one can't, from what I understand.
Yeah, and you know what? that is the issue that we have. That standard of care, standard diagnosis, terminology from one province to the next, or one end of our country to the next. There is no consistency. You've got, as I said, you got great organizations that are doing some incredible work, but it is in silos, and we need to bring everybody together. You got one province that's doing one thing and another province that's not recognizing it at all. So hopefully what my bill will do is that we will get this government. They say that they're going to do something.
They can't not.
Well, exactly. And they said that they put money away and this is what they're going to do. There was a great report that was done. But again, and I'm challenging them. Look, pass this bill. It's not about a Todd Doherty bill or a conservative bill or anything like this. This is a bill that will save lives because it will ensure that there is a line item for the next 3 years while this government's in power for this, and whatever government is coming up next, there will be the same thing there. And we will send a message to folks that, they matter, because when we call, you guys answer. When we call 911, you come running. So
imagine trying to deliver your authority. This is what I tell my colleagues. I say, we can joke around, we can say whatever, we can what if. As a municipal government in a modern Canada, if you can't deliver 911, why should someone pay their property taxes?
100%.
You're Detroit.
Yep.
That's what happens.
Exactly.
You're fucking Detroit.
Yep.
And we saw people stop paying their property
they're
taxes.
building a new arena, aren't they?
In Detroit? Mm-hmm. Well, see, here's the thing. 5 years ago, I should have gone down there and bought property for $12 an acre.
Yeah.
Because I was an idiot. Because I said in 25 years, Detroit will probably be one of the most advanced cities in North America.
Might not have been $12 an acre. You're going to get a good return whether you just double it even.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So they're trying. Anyway, my point is, as a modern municipal government, I have to ensure I can clear the roads, I can keep the street lights on, I can keep the toilets flushing, I can keep the clean water flowing, and when someone calls 911, we have people come running.
Yep.
Otherwise, what the fuck am I paying for as a citizen?
Yep.
Why should I give you my tax dollars again? So you can not deliver these things that I expect?
Exactly.
And we have to be able to show, look, there's always going to be people that will do it. You don't this is my thing. Like when people say, oh, people are faking it. They just want their Veterans Affairs pension. How many people, you don't soldier to get rich.
Nope.
First of all. Second of all, of the 10% of the people that are scamming, it's less than 10%, I'd say, are scammers. They're spillage.
Right.
We'll catch them eventually.
Right.
But they're people that would never have had honor in their life anyway. But it's worth having 95 well-served volunteers that maybe got hurt on the job. So we have to put that incentive out there. So if our police, fire, ambulance, prison guards, bylaw, whatever, if they look at it and go, oh, so that's what I can expect if I get hurt? A big fuck you?
Yep.
Maybe that job just ain't worth it.
Well, and you think
how are we going to keep recruiting people to put the flag on their shoulder if the Crown can't show what their part of the bargain is?
Yep.
We're dealing with this at the military level. I know people that have said, you know what, based on what you're going through and what I've seen, it's not worth it to me to soldier.
Yep.
And these would be great soldiers, some of them. And it takes them a year to get in, and then when they get in, they see like the pension and this and that, and they go, our Minister of Veterans Affairs just announced he's slashing the medical marijuana budget because he just doesn't feel like marijuana is good.
Crazy.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they're going to legalize it, aren't they?
Well, there's that, but how about the guys would rather smoke a joint than take a bunch of pills?
Right.
What the fuck does that cost you for all those pills? A, and B, it's something that's working and the guys want. And that's the one thing you're going to go after. You have done. Okay, I'm ranting on something else right now. But it just bugs me. Like,
No, it speaks to
there's
the-
been no movement on the new veterans charter with these guys, except for upping the fucking one-time payment, which we've said from the beginning, even when your guys were in charge, get rid of the one-time payment and go back to the monthly for life. The only significant change he can say he's done in the last year and a half is that he's going to slash the medical marijuana budget.
Well, he did open our Veterans Affairs, or he announced it was reopening in Prince George.
Go fuck yourself. I don't care about a building. No, sorry. You know, I know some of the guys are all upset they were closing buildings. Brick and mortar does not a service make. Like, just honestly, I understand that. It just costs money. But the point is, you know, we need to. Fuck, I lost my train of thought now. I gotta.
You got it.
People don't do these jobs to get rich.
No.
They go out, they run into gunfire, they run into fires, they go to the accident with there's 15 casualties for about, on average, 50 to maybe top end 120 grand a year.
Yep.
And they do it every day.
I
I used to deploy for 6 months at a time. They deploy every morning.
Yep.
And they're the ones that keep us rolling.
You know what? I think about all of the cop shootings down in the States, how they're being targeted. And I just saw a story the other day.
Yeah, thanks CNN, by the way.
I just saw a story the other day of an ambulance attendant, paramedic, that was responding to an incident. They were giving first aid to a victim on the street, and they themselves were attacked by the victim's own family.
Mm-hmm.
And here they are administering first aid and trying to help them, and the, you know, it's just shocking. And yet we still have people signing up because they want to serve the community, they want to serve the country. And
how about the woman in Chicago? I believe it was Chicago, who let herself get beat to the point of the police officer.
Yeah.
Beat to the point
She
of
didn't wanna
unconsciousness because she thought if she shot the guy,
she didn't want to shoot the guy.
it'd be bad for the department.
Absolutely.
How the and then anyway, we're going down another road right now.
But it speaks volumes that, you know, to my previous comment is that we ask you to serve our country. We trust you to make life and death decisions every day. We trust that when we call 911, that you're going to respond. We know you're going to respond. It's not with trust. We know you're going to respond. And you know, and this was said in, you know, I hate to bring up the presidential election, but it was two special forces guys that stood at one of the rallies and said, you know, the war that we fight overseas, we want to make sure that the war that we're fighting overseas, we're not coming back to the same thing when we get home, that we put measures in place that look after our veterans, that look after our military, look after our first responders, because they're the ones that we trust. They're the ones, the reason why, and you know, I say this all the time about you, Jody, you know, I think, I call you the Canadian,